This is Dr. David Allen, and we're talking about a most important subject. The Bahamas, with all the issues we're facing now with illegal immigration, crime, we just cannot allow ourselves to have an opiate epidemic. We have to do all we can to block our little country from going into opiate epidemic status. Dr. Christie and other psychiatrists are working along with him to try to prevent this. They now have the antagonistic drug to opiates, so Suboxone, in place, and we're ready to go. But this is something we must garner all our forces. Fellow Bahamians, this is so serious because unlike cocaine and alcohol, you die. You die right away. In some parts of the state, we have children have to have the Narcan spray to spray their parents. They're driving their car and they're just falling out. It's very serious. I did a course at Harvard the other day and I had a report on this, and it's very terrible. We're here tonight to say we're doing our best to avoid an opiate epidemic coming to the Bahamas. But we know that what happens in America somehow flows to the Bahamas. So this is going to be quite a task. And I'm so happy to have a young, highly qualified psychiatrist like Dr. KirkChristie. You know, fellow Bahamians, sometimes we don't appreciate some of our people, but this is a very distinguished gentleman who could go to work in England, the States, or Canada, but is sought fit to stay in his country and fight from the grassroots level to prevent this opioid epidemic from coming. Dr. Christie, this is a tremendous challenge for you because if it gets in, that's going to be quite a challenge.
Yes, Dr. Allen. We are surveilling these new psychoactive substances and the traditional drugs of misuse. I was in conference with a team of treatment specialists, prevention specialists, and the demand reduction specialists for 1 week. That was about 2 weeks ago at the Breezes Hotel. So we are working on the Bahamas National Anti-Drug
you mean there's some other drugs that are also trying to get into the Bahamas? What other drugs are trying to make?
We are concerned with the synthetic marijuana. We also concerned with synthetic fentanyl.
You mentioned the synthetic marijuana quite a bit. Why is this so important? Because some people even saying, look, legalize marijuana and whatever, and medical marijuana. How is synthetic marijuana different from all ordinary medical marijuana or other marijuana?
The issue with synthetic marijuana as compared to the plant marijuana is very potent. It is very addictive because of the 60 to 90% of the THC compound, which is a psychoactive compound.
Is synthetic marijuana here in the Bahamas now?
We are suspicious. We suspect that it is present, and maybe during the periods where we have a spring break, we know that persons may be apt to bring this drug in.
And how do you take it? You smoke it like marijuana?
You smoke it just like marijuana, and you can put it in a pipe.
And why would a person want the synthetic rather than the real marijuana?
Because the symptoms of euphoria are amplified.
You get a better high or higher high?
Amplified high, euphoria, and it's longer duration.
What's the greater danger then?
The greater danger is that it is full of THC, and THC is a psychoactive substance that can disrupt the brain neurocircuitry and can bring on psychosis. Also, the proliferation or the onset of delusion, paranoia, persecutory type delusions because of the THC content, and also it can bring on depressed mood swings because of the high THC concentration. So from your perspective, Dr.
Christie, there's no debate. Synthetic marijuana must not be allowed to be in the Bahamas. You're totally strong on that.
In my humble opinion, we should not allow synthetic marijuana in the country. Currently and in the future, we should not allow that drug in the Bahamas. We will have a lot of problems with it. And it is not internationally controlled by the conventions of narcotic drugs of 1961 and 1971. And so we're going to update our present Dangerous Drugs Act in the Bahamas, and we're going to detail all of these synthetic drugs. Our goal is to prevent the proliferation of these synthetic drugs in the Bahamas, such as synthetic marijuana and cannabinoids, and also synthetic fentanyl, and also any other synthetic drugs which are related to the MDMA, which is the methylene dioxymethamphetamine, because most of the current synthetic drugs that are proliferating now They have a chemical compound that is common with fentanyl and also the MDMA compound, which is a stimulant drug. So we don't need any of these analogs of the MDMA and synthetic fentanyl in the country at this time.
Let me go a little deeper. You know, my research shows that we're a shame-based country, which simply means that in spite of our achievements, because of the hurt and the traumatization of first of all, the cocaine crisis in the 80s, the massive immigration, which has blown our hospital, our education to pieces, and of course enhanced our crime rate, and of course our diminishing status as far as our public education is concerned. It seems to me that we keep secrets.
Yes.
A lot of us know about sexual abuse happening to children.
Yes.
We know that sexual abuse happening to kids from 1 to 10 will lead to a teenage murderer or in the early 20s or the late teens. We know that. We know the areas, and we have now from our work with 27 groups in all parts of the Nassau and particularly the prison, that this is rife. People know, but it's all secret.
Yes.
Dr. Christie, are there rogue pharmacists who are prescribing narcotics to people and they can just get them? Are there rogue pharmacists?
Okay. Dr. Allen, I do not know if they are rogue pharmacists, but I have a suspicion that there are probably persons doing underhanded things, especially at the pharmacy level.
Some of my patients who I've been treating have told me they can get narcotics from certain pharmacists.
Yes.
I have a
suspicion.
And I have no cause not to believe it's true. That is a shame, because nothing will bring on the epidemic quicker than that if we have rogue pharmacists giving out Percocet, OxyContin. And for God's sake, they give fentanyl, we're in trouble.
Yes.
Now, if that's true, Dr. Christie, how do we prevent that?
Yes. Through reporting, I think that the patients who are doing this or the relatives of their loved one who is having the difficulty with the opioid addiction and or benzodiazepine addiction or other pain medication should report it to the pharmacy council.
If they have an addiction, they can get their drug from the rogue pharmacist. The rogue pharmacist is getting his money, but he's also satisfying the addict's addiction.
Yes.
So in some sense, they're both getting blessed, as it were.
Yes.
And I don't know how, as a country, we stamp this out.
Yes. Through reporting, I think robust reporting to the authorities, so the Pharmacy Council and or the Ministry of Health through their hotlines, and also reporting to the authorities. We have the Royal Bahamas Police Force. If this is happening, it's a breach of professional ethics if any pharmacist is dispensing narcotic drugs, especially opioid drugs, off-label to patients. They need to stop.
But isn't this something we should do with I mean, the world thrives on intelligence. You have to do intelligence.
Yes.
All big nations have their spy mechanism. I don't know how to get at this. I can't. I'm not a policeman. But when you hear these things happening, we have to have some intelligence to look into this because, I mean, it could easily be organized. You can set it up and, but we have to use more intelligence, whether it be with the hit killers and what have you. You can't have rogue pharmacists giving kids and people cough medicines, hydrocodone and other stuff they can just get, because that's going to lead them on to crave more and more opioids.
Yes. I know at a higher level we've done a lot in terms of pulling Tuscased Linctus from the shelves, which is a codeine-related product.
Tuscased is bad?
Tuscased Linctus, yes.
What is Tuscased?
It is a cough elixir, cough suppressant, and also it helps with bronchitis.
And why do people like it?
They like it because codeine is present within it, and it can be used off-label in a drink called lean. And where
the drink is called what?
Lean.
Lean?
Lean.
So
yes.
How do you mix the drink?
Well, from the evidence-based medicine, persons would use Sprite soda, and they would have
Sprite soda,
Jolly Rancher candy,
Jolly Rancher candy,
and then they would add a dose of the Tuscased Linctus.
And Tuscased Linctus.
And they would mix it up.
And that gives you a narcotic drink.
It gives you sedation. It's a narcotic drink called lean.
So the Tuscased has what narcotic in it?
Codeine.
Codeine. And a person could be on Tuscased for years.
They can be on it for years and develop chronic opioid use disorder and also withdrawal. If they cannot get the Tuscased Linctus, then they can go into withdrawal state. And usually it is being on and on.
So a person who's taking a lot of Tuscased
Yes.
Because we know people have been using that in the Bahamas for a long time.
It's a euphoriant.
Kids been getting it from the pharmacies. People get it from their doctors. Tuscased is very, very common.
Yes.
You're saying if you've been using a lot of Tuscased, and if you can get it, what happens?
You can go into withdrawal because there's
And what's
codeine.
withdrawal? What's opiate withdrawal like?
The symptoms are sedation, dizziness, nausea, constipation, being on a nod, where you're just sitting down and it appears as if you're sleeping, or you're standing up and it appears as if you're sleeping, but you may be awake, but you're just in a
So you have
sedated
more car
state.
accidents.
Yes.
And we've had our increased car accident fatalities, and my feeling is we have to look at what drugs are being taken. We know alcohol, people drink and drive.
Yes.
We know people drink and drive and also take marijuana.
Yes.
If they're taking opiates and marijuana and alcohol, God help us.
Yes.
The streets are no longer safe.
And chronic misuse of the lean can also lead to seizure, the onset of seizures, epileptiform seizures. And so there are certain rap artists who
We're
have
so
experienced,
who
are using
vulnerable.
this drug, and they
So
have
rap
developed
artists
seizures.
are using this.
Yes, there's
We've
some.
got a big rap concert coming up soon, right?
There's some famous rap stars in the United States who use the lean.
They use the lean.
Yes, and it's
And
causing
how do we
these
make
effects.
sure they're not going to bring it here?
Well, we now, persons accessing Tuscased Linctus need to produce a prescription from a physician now. It is being pulled off of the shelves. And so you actually need a hard prescription because it is a codeine product,
Because
opioid.
before
You could go into the store and just get it without a prescription, but now you need a prescription. So that's a
What
positive
about
thing that
other
we've
cough
done.
medicines with codeine or hydrocodone in it?
Well,
Are they prescription as well?
yes, and some you would need for younger children. I think some of the other drugs, such as dextromethorphan or DXM, can bring on hallucinogenic effects if you overdose on the DXM, dextromethorphan. A lot of cough elixirs have the dextromethorphan in them. But you have to be cautious and that you do not use these drugs off-label, that you follow closely the directions of
Chris, when you
the
say cough,
prescribing
Chris,
physician.
If a mother's giving a kid a cough medicine, and people get, this winter now, people get coughs on and off.
Yes.
I mean, plus they're just giving the Tuscased ad lib, and as a doctor, what do you recommend?
That will be inappropriate. You
She
have to follow
said,
the dose.
my child has a cough, and this helps him help his cough.
But you have to follow the directions as prescribed by the attending physician. You cannot use it off-label or increase dosing on those drugs because of the codeine product, and also with the DXM is related to dose. So you may hallucinate if you take whopping doses of the dextromethorphan. So you have to use it as the doctor recommends, instructed.
And then
not use
some
it
patients are
off-label.
telling me they need Tuscased for their cough, because adults.
Yes.
That's the only thing that helps them.
Yes. What I'm saying is that they can
Is
use
that
it.
wrong, Dr. Christie?
It's not wrong, but they need to follow closely the attending physician orders.
But
as
if they
directed
use
by the
one
physician.
bottle, can they get another refill and keep going?
No, that's highly
But if the cough is
ill-advised.
continuing, and they say it helps my cough, what does the doctor do?
Then they need to go back to their primary doctor and get a reassessment. So I would recommend them get a reassessment by their primary doctor, who will discuss with them the different options, or who may order a chest x-ray. But I would advise persons not to recurrently, have
So
recurring use.
multiple refills of Tuscased you would not recommend,
Is ill-advised.
even though the person is saying, I've got a serious cough.
Is ill-advised. You need to discuss with your primary doctor because there may be another source of the infection on the chest wall. You may be
We're gonna
dealing
take
with
a
a
break.
bacterial infection.
And be right back.